Bonjour les amis, do you want to make conversation in French but you feel like you are a beginner, you don't find your words, pronunciation doesn't quite work for you, and you've never felt like you really spoke just like the French do, and also you may not, maybe you feel that you don't have someone to make practice your conversation with. Well, I'm here for you. My name is Llyane Stanfield, and you are watching French Immersion for Beginners, French Immersion for Beginners, where I'm sharing with you 8 techniques that are not shared or used anywhere else, and how to use them right away to become much more comfortable and confident when you speak your level of French. So today is day number 7 of 8, and these videos don't stay on Facebook, they expire. And if you would like to have unlimited access to all the videos, please click on the link in the description of this video and you will have all the access there. Please let me know if you would like to have access to these videos and I'll grant it to you. Now, this technique that I would like to share today is a technique that is, again, not used by most, and this is the reason why Joëlette method works when other methods don't. So I'm calling it rephrasing, and so the reason I'm calling it rephrasing is because when we make a sentence in French, it's une phrase. So a phrase in English means an expression, but une phrase in French means a longer sentence, which actually is called a phrase, that contains more sentences inside of it. Now, what is rephrasing and why would we need to know how to do it? Well, because we do it in our mother tongue all the time. So we draw blanks, and we have times when words don't come to us, which means that we draw blanks. But it could be that a whole sentence structure doesn't come to us, and then we just change it. We change it on the spot. We don't even think about it in our mother tongue. But in an acquired language, we beat ourselves up so much for having to do this, and we're not training ourselves to be able to do it. So in sports, we learn how to fall at the very beginning because we know that we're going to fall all the time. In a foreign language, we don't actually train ourselves to make mistakes and what to do to get out of them. We assume that we should never make a mistake, provided that we know the words and the grammar and the pronunciation. But all these are coming with practice. They don't just come because we know them. We can know them. We may be able to know them, but not be able to use them. Knowing the language and speaking the language are 2 completely different skills. Rephrasing means when a word doesn't come to us and we have to replace it with a synonym or just explain it. Rephrase it means when we're trying to make that big, huge sentence just the way that we translate it from our mother tongue, and instead of coming up with that sentence, it just completely it's unclear, and we can't quite follow our natural native thought to make it and to translate it into French. And so those 2 things are what stops most people from actually making a confident conversation. So let's take them one by one. When a word doesn't come to us, we feel very guilty. I don't have enough vocabulary, we say. I didn't practice enough, we say. I didn't read enough, I didn't learn enough, I didn't do something enough. But when this happens in our mother tongue, we're laughing it off and we're just changing the words. Well, this particular skill of changing the words in the middle of conversations, so when we are on the hot seat, is what we should prepare ourselves to do all the time. This is what the actual practice should consist of, the practice of conversation should consist of telling stories, telling what we did, what we will do, what we would like to do. And when that word doesn't come, to train ourselves to get skilled at finding a synonym on the spot, or if not, to be okay with the fact that we actually just have to explain what, I don't know, an aperitif means, for instance, right? So that would be one thing, one facet of this problem. And the second one is, again, something that everybody's challenged by. We are very sophisticated, smart, educated people. So we know in our mother tongue how to express ourselves as a sophisticated, well-educated person. But when it comes to a second language, we are so uncomfortable to let go of that sophistication and just focus on the clarity of the communication and make sure that we are saying what we want to say. The picture in our mind, or the picture that we create in the people's mind, is the same that the one that we have in our mind. So what we try to do is, I'm thinking that thought that is this, with these words, this sentence that may be very, very long and convoluted. And because I know some words and I know some grammar and I know pronunciation, I know how to say them, I start to translate from what I have in my mind in my mother tongue to what the French would be. And it's never right, because the sentence structure is different. We start with certain words and it's very hard for us to turn around and to make it work in French. I'm talking about beginners, a beginner and intermediate level. So what do? Well, first of all, we have to practice the situation. We have to start making conversation with someone, and that someone needs to be trained to be able to help correct you and correct yourself, so that we put ourselves in those situations. We shouldn't talk to our coach, our French language coach, as if now we have to prove ourselves how good of a French we know. No, we should make sure that we prepare ourselves to make as many mistakes as possible in front of our French language coach, because that's how we're learning to fall. And so learning how to fall is rephrasing. Learning how to recreate our sentence on the spot in the hot seat. Make it simpler, use simpler words, stop it, as in like stop the sentence when it's shorter, start a new sentence, and all those things. This is a practice that we have to do, and we have to do it on a regular basis. Make sure that you're not practicing with people who are not trained to correct you. When I correct my students, I have to pick my battles, because if I correct everything, they're going to be completely overwhelmed and conclude that they completely suck and they can't do this French thing, and it's going to take forever or never will they ever be able to speak. If I correct everything, if I don't correct, I'm choosing my theme. So for instance, if the biggest problem, right? So that's the battle that I'm choosing. So the biggest problem, and then I'm following it and I'm correcting that one, so that, my student actually gets, oh my God, at the end of the class, wow, I actually did this. And then next time I'm going to get prioritized. Some people take more corrections, other people don't. And so it is, if any French speaker would be a good guide for conversation, then that would be that anybody who was born speaking French could easily qualify as a good teacher. And that's never true. Just think if in your mother tongue. are you able to be a good teacher for your own mother tongue? So I would like to invite you to check in the description of this video the intensive projet intensif. It's a French Parisian French intensive course.com. Please check it out. It is the program where I'm applying and I'm using all these eight methods, 8 techniques that once I show you how to use them, then you become self-sufficient, and this is what I want. I want you to never, ever need me ever again. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope that this technique will help you at least for the moment until you hopefully get on the program. If that's right for you, I really invite you to register. So until then, hopefully you're going to try this on and see how it works for you. Stay on your game, keep going for your dreams to become bilingual or multilingual, and immerse yourself into French. It's the way to make conversation. Merci beaucoup et à demain. Au revoir.